You needed a projector and screen to enjoy the home movies of an earlier time. Home movies that a modern-day movement is determined to preserve. David Turecamo has everything but the popcorn.
At the Durham County Library in North Carolina recently, there was an event celebrating the movies. Not an award ceremony, no. It was a screening of home movies, which I know some of you might think date to the Stone Age.
I haven't seen these in 30 years.
These are important cultural artifacts. We want to make sure that you're not throwing them away.
People brought their movies to screen and have transferred to DVD. It was all sponsored by the Center for Home Movies, a national organization dedicated to the preservation of, well, home movies. Skip Elsheimer is one of the directors of the Center for Home Movies.
It's almost voyeuristic in a way to watch somebody else's home movies, but you get to see the common experiences. You get to see how somebody else celebrated Christmas, which is sometimes very different or very much the same.
You see, these days we watch ourselves on YouTube and Facebook and document our lives at arm's length. So it's useful to remember that this digital obsession we have actually began with home movies.
Now, suppose these were your movies, and on this reel you had movies of, let's say this young lady learning to walk. That'd be worth a fortune, wouldn't it?
Kodak made home movies a central part of family life just in time for the baby boom. You really couldn't afford not to shoot them, especially because it was so easy.
Even if you've never snapped a picture before, you'll make exciting movies indoors or out with the new Brownie movie camera.
The Brownie movie camera is the grandchild of the original Kodak camera, a Brownie for still photographs. That was the invention of George Eastman, who created Eastman Kodak. Beginning 130 years ago, when he received his first patent, Kodak's slogan was, "You press the button, we do the rest."
First of all, if the camera's made a successful image, you're going to use more film. So it really was the film business. The cameras were the means to shoot film. Obviously, they made money on the cameras, but the film was a lot more profitable.
Todd Gustafson is curator of technology at the George Eastman House in Rochester, New York. It's an international museum housing 16,000 cameras, projectors, editing, and lighting equipment.
The George Eastman House really archives the history of photography, soup to nuts.
Today, George Eastman's house itself is a living biography of the man who invented the modern era of photography. Kathy Connor is the curator.
Everyone looks at it and says, oh, it's all antiques, it's all old stuff. Eastman didn't like antiques or old stuff. Everything that you're looking at was what was brand new at the turn of the century. Yeah. He had electric light. Most people had gas light. There was a phone in each room. He had indoor plumbing. He was a scientist, an engineer. He was an inventor.
Although Eastman's great invention, a simple camera and easy-to-use film, might never have happened except that as a young man he was working in a bank and heard it was possible to make money investing in
some land in Santo Domingo. It was a land rush. It was kind of a risky investment. It was suggested before he do this that he should document the land photographically.
So you either have to learn how to take pictures and take them yourself, or you pay for an artist to come with you, draw them, and then sign his name so it's proof that that property does exist.
Photography, as we know, was a lot different. At that time, people were doing the wet plate process, where the photographer had to be both the photographer and the chemist.
Bought all the photographic equipment, his camera, his big tripod. Took a lot of investment of money to be able to do that, and then took lessons.
He got much more interested in photography than in investing in land. Sets up kind of shop in his mother's kitchen.
He canceled the trip. He never went because he got so into photography and learning how to make it better and be better at it that he also mentioned many times it was photography chemicals were bad traveling companions. You spilled them on his underwear, his clothes, he ruined things when he was trying to pack them. So we wanted to find a way of making photography easier. And that's how he got into the photography business.
Eventually, he was approached by Thomas Edison to create film for motion pictures, 35mm film, which is still the industry standard. But Eastman wanted to take it a step further, to the consumer level. Movie cameras, like the kind used in Hollywood, were big and expensive. The solution? The Cine Kodak. This is where home movies began. Not even half the size of a professional camera, it used the even smaller 16mm film. Introduced in 1923, it may look primitive, but it began a revolution.
They had various songs that they would sing to keep time with. But basically 16 frames per second is about right here.
And even today, the camera still works. Look, I shot this in Central Park. That's the amazing thing, these cameras.
Still work. Yeah, they're very well made.
The biggest drawback was the retail price, the equivalent of about $2,000. So in 1926, Kodak introduced the Model B. Instead of hand cranked, it was spring wound.
So you just flip the lever and it runs. You don't have to worry about the right speeds. So this frees the photographer up to basically hold it at eye level, you know, and shoot like so.
For the first time ever, a family could shoot a record of their day at the beach. Color film didn't come in till the 1930s. This footage of Eastman with Thomas Edison, this was an early experiment. And while home movies are great memories for a family, they're also a time capsule. I mean, look at those cars. It's one reason why the Center for Home Movies has sponsored more than 100 events like this all over the world, in hopes people will recognize what they have boxed away in their closets.
Traditionally, people think that home movies are boring. But they show us Main Street USA and how much it's changed because they actually show how we used to live. It's a cultural history.